Hello YouTube, RJ. Hey, today we're going to have a couple things. We're going to do a little test for one of our viewers on a question he had in a comment. Then we're going to turn around and talk a little bit about the Lynx Easy Shortwave Receiver, where we're at with that, how that's coming. And then to finish up the video, we're going to pull the old R10 receiver out. I'm going to put it on the bench. We're going to retune it. We're going to go through the tuning steps again to make sure everybody's on board that this thing is peaked out and ready to go for the shootout. So make sure you stay to the end and see how we make out with the R10. Okay, so we're set up on the bench, and what we got going on here is a little test. One of my viewers, Sunny8M, I think it is, sent in a comment, and he's got a project he's working on where he's going to be communicating with an O1 XDM 1041 meter like I have. He's not bought one yet, but he's planning on it. And he wants to communicate with a Raspberry Pi, and he's got a particular situation where he really needs to be sure that the inputs to the meter are not going to have any contact at all with the USB ground. And I wouldn't expect that to be, but he just simply asked me, could I take my meter and check this? And so of course I can. So we're going to do that. That's what we're going to start out the video today with. So basically I've got it set up here, got my meter on. I've got some alligator clip leads hooked up onto it, and I've got them hooked up to one probe. And so we're going to use my handheld meter here. We're going to go up to like 20K, and we're going to make sure we've got both leads hooked. So no matter which way, if there's any path to these, we should be able to detect that. So we can see here that obviously we are hooked up. We definitely can see that. Okay. So what I've got is I've got a USB cable, short one here, plugged into the back. And with this fine probe, I can get in and actually get to, maybe you can see here, I can actually get in and get to the connections here. So first thing is let's look at the outside. And get my meter over here a little better for you without crowding me too much. And the outside shielding has nothing. And then of course the four different connections in here are the two powers and the two data. So let's check each one of those. There's one. I'm getting nothing. There's one. I'm getting nothing. There's the third. Here's the last one. I'm getting absolutely nothing. So obviously that doesn't mean it's completely isolated, but you've got quite a bit of resistance there. So let's go on up to like 20 meg ohm. Okay. And we definitely got connection here. In fact, if I touch this and touch this through my body, get a good connection here. Should be able to pick it. There you go. You can see if I squeeze tight and get a good connection, I can get about 7 mega ohms through my body. Now on this meter, if I was to look across these probes, I would expect to see something like 10 to 20 meg typically. So let's see if what we get here. Get my hands up. Yeah, we're seeing, above 10 megs. So that's between here and here. That's not what he's asking about, but I just wanted to make sure we could detect across. And so now let's take a look here at 20 megs, and we'll get on here. Make sure we're getting good contact. Got a nice sharp probe on there. I'm not getting anything. Let's try the first one. I'm getting nothing. Second one. I'm getting nothing. Third one. I'm getting nothing. And the other side outer, I'm getting nothing. So the answer, Sonny, is the best I can tell. You've got an extremely high resistance path there, so I would say you're probably good. I can't guarantee you anything, but you can see the readings I'm getting. As I said, I can read through my body. So I think you're good. I think what you're planning is probably going to be fine. Do your own testing when you get your meter in, but it sure looks to me like you don't have to worry about connections between the USB and the front end of the meter, which I wouldn't expect. Now, You didn't say what you were testing. That's on the normal inputs. Let's go in and look at the milliamp side and just be sure. Let's check that, okay? Again, nothing, 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 nothing. Okay, that's the milliamp. Let's try the 10 amp. Nothing, nothing on the outside. No, nothing on all four. So I think you're okay. So I hope that answers your question. So let me clean up the bench. I'll be right back. We've got more to talk about. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about is I've got one of the parts in for the ICOM IC2300H radio that we were working on. Still waiting on one part. Thought I'd open this up. I'm hoping that other part might show up the next day or two. So here's the parts. There is the part, I should say. There is the one that's blown up. Doubt you can see anything through there. I'm not going to open the static bag up at this point until I'm ready to work on it. But there's the surface mount transistor that blew up. Next thing I want to talk about is where are we with the Lynx EZSW receiver kit? Well, I ordered parts today to be able to create kits. I've got what I need ordered. We're going to build up a number of kits. I don't know how many of them will actually go out. I've done the best I can to get the cost down. I don't know how many of them we're going to sell. So obviously I can't build 100 kits and put them out there. So we're going to start with a fixed amount of kits. I've created a store, got a little Shopify shop set up that once we're ready, I'll do the video where we do the shootout. I'm working on that. I'm going to explain that in a minute. We're going to do the shootout video, and I'm hoping at the end of that shootout video to be able to, in that video's description, to be having links to the stores where you can go buy them if you want the kits. We'll sell what we got. We'll see how long it takes to sell them, how many go, if they go out. If they do, I'll order more parts, take a few weeks to have more kits in hand. Maybe we won't sell but one or two. Maybe I'll be sold out right away. I don't know. I just didn't want to risk a lot of money because I'm having to invest hundreds of dollars, into buying the parts to build kits, and I'm not meaning one or two hundreds. I mean hundreds of dollars. So I want to be a little cautious. I don't want to be stuck with a bunch of these kits if people aren't interested in them. So I'm going to start out small, go from there. There'll be enough kits up there that the people I know want them, that have told me they want them. There's definitely enough up there for you to get. Beyond that, we'll see where it goes. So the shootout. If you've seen the video with the little battery that was supposed to be 120 amp hours, but it turned out to be 7 amp hours, I sent that back, got a refund, and I found a smaller, not smaller than it, but instead of a 100 amp hour full size car battery type lithium iron phosphate, I found a 50 amp, which is smaller, which will work perfect for me. 50 amp hours is plenty for what I want it for as a portable radio power source. I got it coming from Amazon, should be here in a few more days. Of course, I'll test that and make sure that it's got the amp hours that they claim it has and that it tests out good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use that battery to run the R10 receiver and the Lynx EZ receiver, and then the other two units run off 9-volt batteries so that we have no noise from power sources. I'm going to be working to make sure we have no noise at all during the testing. We have a fixed antenna for them all. That's coming. I know I keep saying that, but there's a lot in motion. I wanted to have the kits ready to sell if people wanted them. I wanted all done and lined up in a row. I had to have a power source and all of that. So that's kind of where I'm going. So now what I want to do is the last part of this video. When I reviewed the R10, I got a lot of feedback, people saying it's a really great receiver. You're really disparaging against this receiver incorrectly. It's your fault where you didn't know what you were doing. You didn't tune the receiver. You didn't do it. You did it on a strong station. You don't know what you're doing. So I want to get rid of all that for the shootout. So what I'm going to do is we're going to pull the R10 out now. I'm going to set it up on the bench here, and we're going to go through tuning it on the bench with my bench equipment at the minimum discernible signal we can get on it. We're going to tweak it. We'll turn the signal down. We'll tweak it till we get it to the very weakest signal I can receive, and then it will be ready. It will not be messed with until the shootout, and that way nobody should be able to say that you didn't get it adjusted properly or any of that. So let me set up on the bench, and we'll go through trying to tweak that R10. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I've got set up. Let me tell you what I've got. I've got the R10 here, you can see, and I've got my big linear lab power supply, the one, like zero noise practically. So I mean, there's going to be no noise on the power line. This is one of those big, 50-pound, good old giant transformer, big capacitors, big toroids, very clean. Now, the lighting might not be great. That's because I turned the overhead LEDs on the bench off because they do generate some electric noise. So I've taken care of that. Got my speakers hooked up to the R10. I've got my signal generator, my 1032X Siglant set up. It's on the GPS DO as the reference, so very accurate. Set up on 8 megahertz. I've got an AM signal at 700 hertz coming out of it. That's coming in and being plumbed through my attenuator here. And if you can't see here, I don't know if you can see or not, these first three are 20. And what we'll do is we'll turn them all off. First three are 20, 16, 8, 4, 2, and 1. Okay. Signal generator is set to put out minus 50 dBm, so pretty strong signal directly piping in. But so anyway, I've got this thing tuned to 8 megahertz. Got the speakers turned on. We'll power up the power supply, bring this thing online. It's dead on 8 megahertz according to it. As I said in my review of this radio, the frequency, as far as accuracy, is no problem on the PLL system. It seems to be pretty darn on. So we're 8 megahertz here. We're 8 megahertz here, ready to put a 700 hertz modulation out on an AM at 8 megahertz. So I'm going to kick on the SIGGEN. There it is. If I tune off at 8, I don't have to. You can definitely tell it's dead on 8 megahertz. So now what I'm going to do is, this is just exactly what I've done before. I'm going to start putting attenuation in until we get down to a very minimum signal. So let's drop 20 dBm. Okay. Let's drop another 20 dB. Okay. We're getting there. We're right on the cusp. Another 20 takes it totally out. Let's add 1. Let's go to 2. Let's go to 4. Let's go to 8. Okay. If you can hear, it's barely in there. Okay. So so basically we're minus 50, minus 70, minus 90, minus 98 dBms. So we're getting down there on signal. So let's go ahead and see if we can peak this. Now, I have not peaked this since I put it on the bench this time, but I did the last time. So it's probably going to be peaked. I'm just going to tell you now. Might be eating my own words here in a minute. So what I'm going to do at this point is I've got a non-conductive screwdriver, tuning screwdriver, and I'm going to start turning R10. I'm going to turn it counterclockwise first. And the signal's going away really fast, and it's gone. So I'm going to come back. Right there's about where I was. Got a very light signal in there. Hopefully you can hear it on my mic. I'm going to start going clockwise now. It's falling away quickly. It's gone. Going down all the way down to there. It's gone. Come back up. Starting to hear a little something. Getting louder. Going back and forth across a point where it's the loudest, which is where we were before. And you can hear it. The signal I'm at right now, moving it either way, drops the signal out very quickly. So I'm not sure how I could peak this any better than that. This is exactly what I did last time. It's right back where it was. So yes, I am tuning it with an extremely weak signal. I mean, if I go from 8, there's 16. So 40, 56, right? 40, 56 dBm reduction takes the signal out, okay? If I drop 16 and replace it with 8, that 8 dB increase is enough to bring the tone in. So we're right there. So if I add like 4 more, it's pretty well gone. 2 more, 1 more, it's pretty gone. So that's literally the weakest signal that I can hear it at, is about there. So let me check my tuning again. Oh, it's very touchy now. I can't move much at all, that it doesn't start going away very fast. That is the peak right there. Let me throw in a little more. I almost have nothing. I'm just making it out. There you go. So no AGC actions kicking in, and as it's peaked as much as it is. And it's going to stay just like this till we go do the shootout, and then we can decide just, how it compares to the other receivers. So that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully it didn't turn out too long. Hopefully I kept it fairly short. Hey, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. And I hope to see you in the next video.